guys. The Next Level Training Call. Appreciate you getting on. Thank you for taking a few minutes today. I'm very excited. We got a very special guest in the room, and you know, it's funny because we're doing some training, and I say to Frank Eufemia, I said, hey, would you be willing to come up and do the Next Level Training Call with us, because you're very, very good at, you know, training on life insurance sales. He's like, yeah, when do you want me to come up? And that's what I like. That is just wants to get back. So he flew in from Baltimore this late last night and is going to be on the call with us today. So I'm going to get some numbers real quick, but I want to make sure we understand something, because I think this is really difficult to put into words. If you've not been in this business, you don't know. So do you know what usually happens, Frankie, in the summertime?
People slow down.
People slow down. You know, children are not in school. You're an independent contractor. A lot of people take vacations, which, by the way, they absolutely deserve to take. But just typically, the numbers slow down. For us at Family First Life, they don't dip, but they level off. You know what I mean? We've a lot of people, when I got my first carrier contract, they're like, well, in July and August, nobody's going to sell anything. I'm like, I'm pretty sure people are going to sell stuff in July and August. You might slow down, but I don't think nobody's going to sell nothing. That's weird. And if you expect that, then I guess they're not going to. So we've always been pretty good level July and August. This August, which is a 5-week month, but in the first 4 weeks of the month, we've issued more in 4 weeks in August than we've ever issued in our existence in 5 years.
Wow.
Now you said we're growing like a weed, so it's not like, if you look at, we're going to finish this year well over 150 million issue paid. I'm not debating that with what everybody else does, because they speak a submitted language, and we do, those are our real numbers. That's not like, let's take them and those are our real numbers. Take carrier issue paid numbers, add them all up. That's what we have. So when you start thinking about how much a week we're issuing, Frank, when you look at the life side and issuing upwards of 1.456 million a week, it gets a little bit crazy. So first of all, great job in helping families out this past month, like we continue to do. Now we've contracted more agents than ever, so we're actually growing that side of the business, so the numbers aren't that confusing to me. But it's really just been unbelievable to see the growth and see people out there making money. So I'm going to start with the, let's see, okay, life only. I'm going to do the submit. So this is the week 5 submit, and I'll read you the week 4 issue paid. 21 people over $15,000 for the week submit. James S, 15,267. JT, 15,719. Jimmy P, 16,033. Conrad P, 16,101. Matt T, 16,185. Tom K, 16,800. Chadwick S, 16,801. Brandon L, 18,969. Danielle B. So we had 13 people over 20,000 for the week submit. Danielle B, 20,540. Dawn S, 20,596. Pete O, 20,718. John G, 20,986. Josh L, 22,285. Frank E, our guest today. So we let people train that sell and that know how to sell a lot, and they're in the field now or in the field in the very recent past. Like, you don't have to go back 2 or 3 presidents to find when they sold life insurance. Like, they sell it now or sold it recently. Now, back in '81 when I sold it, well, it's a little bit different now. So Frank E, who did $23,076 submitted just this week. Teresa M, 23,391. Jonathan P, 24,029. Jack Y, 25,968. Becky B, 26,285. Eric S, 32,200. Chantel W, 39,330. And Ivan V, who's newer with us, will be in our office this Thursday in a up-and-coming sales manager VP meeting. We got $40,134 for the week. We had 10 agencies. We have more that are getting there. We still have this break. We're trying to get more up over that 100 grand a week for them, because they're trying to build and want to help more clients and help more agents. East Coast, these are all the ones over 100 grand for the week. So 178,882. So there's a number of them hovering 70, 80, 90 a week. And then we went from that 100. So 178,882 is East Coast. FFL Maryland, Frank and your entire awesome team, 183.90. Northwest, 184.632. Golden State, 205,793. Global, 264,986. USA, 316,792. Tri-State, 329,619. Gulf Coast, 356,323. West Coast, 417,700. Southeast, 681,690. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Let's do the issue paid for week 4. 23 people over $10,000 issue paid for the week. Luke B, 10,000. Peter K, 10,513. Philip R, 10,556. Millie P, 10,607 paid for the week. Shelly M, 10,704. Alex L, 10,709. Amy M, 10,984. Courtney C, 11,015. Danielle B, 11,121. Michael P, 11,152. Kyle H, 11,543. Ryan B, 12,932. Brandon L, 14,400. VP, 16,099. Zach T, 16,258. Christine K, 17,536. Tyler T, 12,126. Tiffany G, 20,000. Now these are people that issue paid 20,000 for the week. I know it's fun, like for the week. That's why I like Carrie. We have a Carrie around today listening. I say call in and listen and just hear the numbers. And they always like those are weekly numbers, those quarterly numbers, semi-annual numbers. Like this, it's seriously. So we have Tiffany G, 20,874 paid for the week. Nicole M, 25,417. Ted T, 30,528. Christina B, 39,028. And if I pronounce, please let me know. Naeem W, if I pronounce that wrong, please let me know. 50,919 paid for the week. Matt W, paid for the week. 85,575. Not a bad week. Life only, real quick. Shelly M, 10,704. Alex L, 10,709. Courtney C, 11,015. Kyle H, 11,543. VP, 11,664. Ryan B, 12,932. Zach T, 16,258. Christine K, 17,536. Naeem W, 20,919. Nicole M, 25,417. Issue paid life of the week. Contracted agents, so I'll give you an idea how many we're hiring. So I'll do the top 10 groups. Well, I'll do that, everybody 7 and above. It's so many. FFL Legacy, 7. West Coast, 8. Golden State, 10. Maryland, 12. Northwest, 12. Southeast, 17. Tri-State, 19. East Coast, 20. And sit down.
This is crazy.
Family First Life USA, 52. So, I'm just saying, so we have phenomenal growth, which of course gets me very excited. You know, I get really excited about what we have going on here. I get excited about things that are newer for us, that are changing. A couple of things I know Frank's going to talk about, just kind of get you on the same page. We're absolutely exploding with America doing what they did with Eagle. Like to literally say, if you are a smoker, but you plan on quitting in the next 3 years, we're going to give you a non-smoker rate today. At the end of that third year, whenever that annual policy annualizes, that you either have to go ahead and get a note or so the oral swab, send it in, and you get that non-smoker rate for 3 years. If you don't quit, then we're going to go ahead and reduce the face amount where you would have been for 3 years no matter what. And of course, a lot of people go, yeah, I'd like to quit, put that together. We have a lot of people writing the accidental death benefit with cashback option. I mean, why would you not? It does give you all of your money back, and it's a nice add-on. It's nice for people that are looking at this. It's a nice annual review product. It's been that's America's product. You do not need a health license to sell it. So that's been outstanding. When you look at everything we got with the sales conferences coming up, I know we start really heavy in September. Like I think if that's the 10th, I believe, that Monday, because we're 17th, we do the following week, I believe. So I know I'm in Atlanta, Charleston, Charlotte, and Ontario, California. I'm sure there's more. And back with you in Baltimore on the 17th. I know I'm in Baton Rouge on the 19th, I believe. So, I mean, I know I have 30 of them to go to in a few months, which I couldn't be any more excited about. We have so much growth. We want to make sure we do the best we can to give back and put people in a better position. But I'd ask you to just really, as you listen on today's call or watch, whatever you're doing, a couple things you have to know about Frank and what he's doing. Number one, his concern for clients is greater than his concern for himself, which allows him to not worry about what they think. You know, now when you say that, it sounds like it comes across the wrong way sometimes. Like people think that, you know, well, you don't care. What are you, dismissive? No. When you care about helping other people, I mean, Frank, if your kids are in trouble and they're in the water, you don't think about yourself when you go in to help them. You just go in to help them. You're not thinking about what's in your pocket or can I swim really well. You go because they're there. When somebody's walking down the street, if I walk down the street and I see an elderly lady walking across the street and having a hard time and I see a car coming, I don't think, well, if I run out there, I could trip and hurt my ankle, I could break my ankle, I could fall, maybe I won't get out. I just try because I want to help. It's not that I'm perfect, it's not that, it's just, I want to do the best I can to go out there and help put somebody in a better position or keep them safe. And Frank has that desire. So a lot of I remember a guy said one day, well, I can't say some of those things he's saying. I said, some of the things he's saying about being concerned about people, Frank, he builds relationships, he connects with clients, he's honest and direct with them. But again, I think if you take a step back before I turn it over to you, Frank, and understand who our clients are begging for you to be direct with them. They fill out a form, mail it back to somebody they don't know. They're not looking for a cute sales presentation. They're not. There's plenty of ways for them to have gotten a cute sales presentation all over the place, internet, wherever. They're looking for another human being to come to their house, look them in the eye and tell them the truth. That's it. If it's hard to hear, if they're not eligible for one product, they just want somebody to shoot them straight, and they want somebody to work really hard to put them in a better position. And when you look at both, we'll talk a lot about the life because we have John Gavin join us at the end of the call to give us phenomenal training on annuities. But when you listen to Frank talk about the bread and butter of what we do, how we sell mortgage, how we sell final expense, I always kind of say, Frank, you've been the king of this cashback option, return of premium. I mean, the way you explain it, and that's what's the nice thing. No matter how you're doing, good or bad, because what happens is we're doing bad sometimes, we're like, no more, I don't want to hear it. Okay. And equally so, we go, I'm doing pretty good, I don't want to hear it. Well, I always did pretty good, but when I heard you talk about return of premium, I was like, I'm going to do exactly that, because that makes sense to me. And what I'm doing is working pretty good, but I think that's going to work better for me. And when I started hearing about final expense, I'll never forget when I heard one of the guys on the training call and say, we sell for 3 times, I think it was John Wetmore. He's like, 3 ways we do it. You don't have any insurance, you don't have enough, or legacy plan. And I'm like, I'm doing that. I'm selling quite a bit of final expense life insurance, but that I think is going to relate to I think my clients will relate to that better. So talk about being able to control an appointment. A lot of that comes from the concern you have for people. It's hard for you to demonstrate your concern for others and provide structure if you really don't care. And I tell people all the time, if you care enough about clients, you'll be good at this despite anything else you got going on in your life. If you actually care, you're really going to have a hard time not being successful. But if you don't care, then you probably don't want to sell life insurance. I mean, remember my first social work class in college, and Professor Nilsson was like, any of you don't care about other human beings? And this one sarcastic, he thought it was funny, right? He didn't realize we weren't in elementary school, that we were in college. Like, we paid to go there, like, cost me, And he's like, I don't know if I do. And he walked him out the class. And I was like, I like this class. It's pretty cool. Like, he's like, this isn't funny to me. This is what we do. If you decide to go, and there's nothing wrong with it. There are plenty of jobs that you don't really have to care about anybody else. There's plenty of jobs you can do on your own, not having any human interaction. This is not one of those. So, Frank, I appreciate you coming in. Appreciate what you have to offer. I'm going to pass it over to you and let you go ahead and rip. So it's all yours, buddy.
Sean, thanks for having me. It's always an honor to be here. And actually, to be here is an honor. But to be here and do this live, which is the new thing that Family First Life is doing, I think it's more viable. When you can actually look and watch body language and tonality and facial expressions, because that's a big deal in the home. And I think a lot of times as agents, we get so tied up in trying to be something specific. And honestly, it's just when I go into a home, and that's why, by the way, it's why we don't use a flip chart. Because every presentation, every client, every situation is different. Now, it's not going to be extremely different. You're not going to have, one end of the spectrum to the other. You could, but on a regular basis, it's pretty much in that middle area. But you still, you're not going to have the same situations in every home. So I can't go, here's a textbook guide on how you sell insurance. There is none. Like Sean said, you go in a home, you care about the client, and you do what's best for them and treat everybody the way you would your friends, your family, your mom, your dad, your sister, your brother, your cousin, and things go very easy for you. So again, I appreciate you having me up here. I appreciate you trusting me enough to do this call. 4.5 years in the business, who would have thought we'd be where we are at? It's been life-changing to say the least, and I know a lot of guys would say this to you, and I can speak for them, to you've changed our lives, so appreciate you for that. I'm going to go over, for pretty much the majority of this call, I'm going to go through how to finish strong in the fourth quarter and how to write $10,000 a week in simplified issue business, because if you're a full-time agent selling with Family First Life, there's no reason in the world that you shouldn't be writing 10 grand a week simplified issued life insurance. Annuity volume's great, IUL volume's great, that's bonus. So your goal should be to get the 10 grand a week simplified issue business, and if you write a $100,000 annuity, now you're at $20,000 submit for the week. That should be your goal, because the simplified issue business stuff gets placed and paid within usually a week. Annuity volume take 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I've got a lady I'm waiting on funds. I've been dealing with her for about 3 months. So it's getting paid is how we stay in business. It's how we keep replenishing our lead flow. It's what we have to do as agents. So I'm going to take some time to go over a little bit of lead flow, a little bit of schedule, a little bit of phone script, touch on final expense and mortgage protection. And if Sean has any questions along the way, he obviously can fire away. But as far as leads go, I think that the biggest thing as an agent coming in, if you're new, even if you've been here for a while and you're not at that point where you're issuing or writing 10 grand a week and you have the goal to get the red jacket, be in the Hall of Fame, the thing you have to realize is consistency in this business is key. Whether it's your schedule, whether it's your lead flow, whether it's the amount of appointments you run, it's got to be consistent. And for me especially, I'm not a very organized person, but I know that if I'm spending $1,000 a week on leads or $400 a week on leads and they're popping into my CRM every day, that I'm not just going to let them sit there and go to waste because I've spent money on them. So leads do a couple things. When you have them on automatic order, it holds you accountable. I don't think there's anybody that's in this business to lose money or to not make money. So if essentially that's about the only way you can lose money is if you buy a bunch of leads and never call them. Or if you buy a bunch of leads and let them sit for 45 days and then they're stale. So get your lead flow on automatic order, whether you're getting ARM BPLs, Mail Pro BPLs, final expense Facebook leads, which are $15 a piece. The cherry pick leads are very good as fillers. I'm not a big fan of going solely cherry pick leads, but I know there are some agents that do that as well. I'm a big fan of getting in the office, getting on the phone, getting done. So I like brand new leads because it takes me less time to set the amount of appointments I need to set. And it's not much more complicated than that. You need, if you're calling brand new leads, whether it's Facebook final expense mail, whether it's mortgage protection mail, you need 30 to 35 brand new leads a week to set 24 appointments. If you set 24 appointments, and listen, I run in Baltimore City, okay? Sometimes, a lot of the times, the folks will just not be there when I get there. And when I call them and go, hey, we had an appointment at 2 o'clock, they make it seem like it's my fault. And that's just the attitude of Baltimore. So you've got to have 24 appointments because if 6 of them aren't there, I don't care. I've still got 18 appointments left. But if I set 7 appointments and 4 aren't there, it's the end of the world. So consistency and the amount of appointments that you set on a weekly basis is key. When it comes to dialing, that's got to be, everybody asks this question all the time, how long does it take you to set appointments? And the answer should never change as long as it takes. So if I get to the office and start dialing at 8, if it takes me till 8 at night to set my 16 appointments for the next 2 days, then so be it. But sometimes I get done at 3, sometimes I get done at 11, sometimes I get done at 6. Whatever it takes to get there is what I have to do, and that's what you have to commit to. That's the most important day. If you're not getting the most out of your dial day, then you're setting yourself up for a disappointing week. So whatever your schedule may be, if you're dialing 3 days a week, I dial on Mondays, run Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. I also run Thursdays, but I fill Thursday on Tuesday and Wednesday when I'm running. So like I can do that because I have enough lead flow and I can drive and make phone calls at the same time. I don't need to be sitting at a desk. It's just, it's talking to people. So, but that's my schedule. And then again, I'll come in the office on Friday and I'll be on the phone on Friday to call to run either Saturday or Sunday. I run one or the other. I used to never run on the weekends. When I first met Sean, I was a big component of having the schedule that people have banker hours, and working Monday through Friday and kind of taking a half day on Friday, not doing much, and having a whole weekend to do what I wanted to do. And, Sean's like, do you want to be broke or do you want to make money? You keep telling your family you're going to buy them a house, but you're lying to them, so you should probably stop lying and just go to work, and working on the weekends is the best thing you do. And I did, and it's changed my world dramatically. So here's what I can tell you about working Saturdays and Sundays is people are home. They're usually in a little bit better mood because they're not at work. And if they're letting you come to their house on a Saturday or a Sunday, then they're serious about what you have to say. Because there's a million different things they could be doing on a Saturday afternoon, but they decided to meet with you to talk about something that's extremely important anyway. And so your closing ratio on a Saturday and Sunday should be higher than any other day of the week. So I'm a big fan of running on the weekends as well. And I'm also a big fan of setting solid appointments. So again, lead schedule, and whatever your schedule is, a lot of the VPs and their groups and teams have different types of schedules. So whatever your group and team does, I would follow what they do, because if everybody's in the field on Tuesday and Wednesday, that's probably when I would be in the field if that's what they do, just because it's a team thing, and then people know to expect to look for a call if you're in the home, if you have questions. So just set your schedule in stone, and it's non-negotiable. Like whatever you decide to work, treat it like a job. Because if you have a job at a big corporation and you're supposed to be there Monday at 9, Tuesday at 9, Wednesday at 9, Thursday, Friday, and you're supposed to work till 5, and you get an hour lunch, like if you don't do that more than a couple times in a month, they'll fire you. So treat this like you would if you actually had a boss, and your paychecks will be extremely consistent. And that's the goal in sales. I think that's the biggest struggle with outside sales, is the inconsistency of the pay. And for me, it's always been, if I always run 24 appointments a week, my paycheck's always very consistent, and I never have any issues with money. So phone script is we do a Thursday phone call on phone script training. Dom's been on there, Jamie's been on there. We've had tons of people, James and myself. We have a lot of folks that jump on and help out with that call. But so I'm not going to take a ton of time going over phone script, but I think that being on the phone longer than 35, 40 to a minute is plenty. If you go over that, I think you're talking too much and you tend to mess things up. So my final expense script is very simple. If I was calling Sean, I would say, ring, ring, Sean, say hello. I would go, Sean. And he would go, yeah. And I would say, this is Frank with Senior Benefits Center right here in Baltimore. I'm getting back to you about a card you mailed in. It talks about some state-regulated programs that can help with your final expenses. Sean, my job's real simple. It's to get you the information. It takes about 10 minutes. Are you working or are you retired? I ask him a very direct question. He's going to answer it. I'm working or I'm retired, one or the other. There is no other way he can answer it. So he goes, I'm retired. I'm like, perfect. They have me scheduled in 21212 tomorrow. Are you an early riser? Are you a late riser? I'm an early riser. Okay, perfect. My first appointment's at 8 a.m. Is there any reason you won't be home at 8 tomorrow? Nope, I'll be here. Perfect. Got you at 123 Main Street. Yep, see you tomorrow. Bye. That might have taken 30 seconds. There's not much more to go into that conversation. Now, can he give me some objections? Sure. But here's the thing. When I've got 40, 50, 60, 70 leads, 35 leads, if somebody goes, I'm not interested, I might go, I'm not sure you're understanding what I'm saying. You sent us a card requesting information. I'm not a telemarketer. My job's to get you that information. If he goes, I'm not interested in anything, and hangs up, I go, no worries, next. Because it's all part of the numbers. So managing expectations when you're on the phone is a big deal. If I'm calling brand new mortgage leads or final expense leads, I should expect to set 80 to 90% of those. So that means 1 to 2 out of 10 are going to tell me they're not interested. They're going to hang up on me. They might cuss me out. They might lie. I don't really care, because they're part of the 2 that aren't going to set an appointment with me anyway. So it doesn't matter. I'm looking to get through the no's to get to the yeses. Now, if I'm calling age leads, 3-month-old, 6-month-old, year-old leads, my expectations as a newer agent should be 25 to 30% set ratio. So if I'm talking to 10, then I should set 3. So that means 7 out of 10 are going to tell me they don't want to talk to me, and that's okay. I think a lot of times we get in the habit of getting disappointed that we're not setting 50%, 60, 70, 80% of age leads, and it makes us feel like we're not good on the phone. No, that's not how it goes. I'm very good on the phone. Dom's very good on the phone. Jamie's very good on the phone. We have a ton of people that are very good on the phone. But if they're calling year-old leads, they're not going to set 60, 70% of them. And it's okay. So manage your expectations. Know what to expect. And if you don't know what to expect, then ask somebody that should know what to expect. Because I think that's a big deal. When you're getting the results that you should get, it tends to make you feel better inside, which gives you more of a advantage while you're with your mindset while you're on the phone. And if you start beating yourself up about, I should have set this appointment, then it kind of it messes with you. So That's my final expense phone script. Mortgage protection is even more simple. Sean, hey, this is Frank with the Mortgage Protection Center getting back to you about a form you mailed in. You did a loan on 123 Main Street through XYZ Bank. You sent this paperwork in and talks about some different plans. If something happens to you, it makes sure the loan's taken care of so you or your family doesn't lose the home. My job's real simple. It takes about 10 minutes to go over the information with you. They have me scheduled in 21212 tomorrow. What time do you get off of work? I don't ask them if they work or they're retired. What time do you get off of work? If they go, oh, I'm retired or I'm on disability. Oh, perfect. Okay. I get off at 4. Perfect. They have me in there. They have me in that area tomorrow. Is there any reason you won't be home by 4:30 or 6, whatever time you pick? I don't ask them what time's good for them. I tell them what time I'm going to be there. Ask them if there's a reason they wouldn't be there. If they go, I should be there, I go, should be or will be. They go, well, I should be. Okay, well, what time will you be? Like, I have a lot of people I got to get to, and so I want to be respectful of your time as well as mine. So what time do you think the latest you could get home would be? Well, I will definitely be home by 7. Perfect. I'll swing by tomorrow at 7:30. We'll take 15 minutes, go through the information, see what you qualify for. You're at 123 Main Street. Yes, perfect. See you tomorrow. It's a very quick set. It's not, there's a difference in a quick set and me being quick on the phone. I'm not trying to spend a ton of time talking to people. So I get through it. I set the appointments as fast as I can, and I stack them. And we've all, listen, I'm guilty of this as much as most of you all out there have done this in the past, where I'm trying to get my appointment set, and I'm talking to someone, and they go, yeah, I should be there, but there's a chance I might work over. And you go, okay, perfect. Well, I'm going to set you at 6, and if you're there, great, perfect. See you tomorrow. You hang up knowing that they're not going to be there. And then I started looking at myself going, why would I do that? Like, I'm actually on the phone working right now, setting appointments. Tomorrow, I'm going to be driving around to people's homes, trying to help them with insurance, mortgage protection, final expense. Why would I set an appointment for somebody that might not be there? It's really, to me, it's and again, I think everybody that's sold insurance has done this in the past, but it's something that I think you get in the habit of doing, and then you start wasting time and you wind up having a ton of no-shows. So I've done it in the past, and I'll catch myself even to this day still going, that was a weak appointment, and if I catch myself, then I'll double book that appointment. So my goal is 24 appointments a week. I've got to sit with 15 minimally. I'll write 10 grand a week no matter what. So again, phone script's very simple. We have tons of video and audio on phone script. There's all kinds of training on the Family First Life website. I'd listen to all of it. I remember learning phone script with a video, and Tuesday at 6 was, everybody had t-shirts made, Tuesday at 6. We'd be home, I'll see you Tuesday at 6. And I could, honestly, if they put that video or that audio in right now, I could probably still recite that audio word for word from start to finish, just because I listened to it probably about 700 times. And it's okay. Like, if you find something that you think would work with your personality, then you get very good at what they do, just like the way they do it. And that's why we have so many different types of people doing this training, because I'm not going to relate with everybody, just like Mark's not going to relate with everybody, and Andrew. So find that person that best fits your personality and go, I can see myself talking that way, presenting that way, posturing that way, and try and mimic them. It's okay to copy in this business. It's how most of us have gotten good at what we do. So a couple tips. I'll go through a couple final expense tips, and then we'll get into my favorite sale of all time, mortgage protection tips. But I felt I had to go over this today, especially with what, again, Sean said, with what Americo's done with the Eagle Premier and the non-tobacco rating. And here's what I can tell you. So I walk into a home yesterday, and a lady, and it's a mortgage lead, okay? And she's 72 years old. And I walk in, and on the table, she's got a policy with an insurance, different insurance company, and a conditional receipt, which is dated for like 4 days ago. I'm like, oh, okay, what's all this? She goes, oh, no, that's nothing. I'm like, no, that's life insurance. See, she tries to brush me off the topic because I spotted that she had life insurance, and I guess she didn't want to talk about it. And she goes, oh, that's nothing. I go, no, it's definitely life insurance. What is it? She goes, well, I just got this one here to replace this one here. I said, okay, well, tell me about that. And the lady goes, well, I had $8,000 with this company, and I got it 8 years ago. And this company's giving me $10,000 for the same price. And I said, okay. And I'm very observant when I'm in the home, which you should be as well. I see ashtrays and I see a lighter and I see a pack of cigarettes. I'm like, you smoke? She goes, yeah. I said, okay. Well, how much are you paying for 10 grand? She goes, $56 a month. And I said, did you tell the guy that you smoked? She said, absolutely. I said, okay. I said, well, here's what I can tell you. He put you down as a non-tobacco rating, which means if you pass away in the first 2 years, your family's going to be left holding a funeral expense bill because the life insurance policy that he wrote for you isn't going to pay out because there was misinformation on the app. And she goes, but I told him that I smoked. I said, I understand that, but I'm telling you what he did. And she goes, I'm going to call him right now. So she calls him, and she goes, and I can say his first name because nobody knows his last name, Tony. He goes, yeah. She goes, we did that policy like 4 days ago. This is Miss Sheila. He goes, yeah, I remember you. She goes, did you put me down as tobacco user? He goes, well, did you tell me you smoked? And she goes, yeah, I told you I smoked. He goes, well, then that's probably what I put down. And I laughed. And she hung up the phone. I said, all right. So and fortunately for me, I had the company that he tried to write her with. I had their illustrations and I had their calculator. So I go, this is the company that you got the policy with. This is what it should be because you smoke. This is what he gave you, and this is non-smoker. She said a few choice words and was a little aggravated, and I wound up writing her a $10,000 Eagle Premier policy, told America that she does smoke, and America goes, okay, you've got 4 years to quit, so we're going to give you a non-tobacco rating today, 3 years to quit, sorry, a non-tobacco rating today, and then in 3 years we're going to send you a mouth swab. If you quit, then you keep that same rating with the same face amount. If you didn't quit, you can either lower the face amount, keep the same payment, or you can keep the same face amount and raise the payment. It's your option. And she goes, that's really cool. I've written more of those in the last 2-3 weeks than I've ever written, like in my entire life, because I have the ability now to actually look at people that have tobacco ratings and save them money on an insurance policy, or not necessarily even save them money, keep them paying what they're paying, but give them more life insurance. And everybody, not 99 people hate everybody. 99% of people that do smoke are trying to quit because they know they're going to get sick at some point, and they know it's bad for them. The doctors are telling them to quit. Most of their family members are telling them to quit. So most people go, yeah, I want to quit. Okay, great. Here's your option to get something that can benefit you, but also give you that motivation to quit as well. So if you're not pulling out policies and looking at them, you're doing your clients, first of all, a disservice. And I know Mark went over this a couple weeks ago about how you get people to get their policies out. And so there's not much to go in on that. If you didn't see it, go back and listen to it because it's very good. But you just ask them to go get their policies. They know where their policy's at. I mean, it's a life insurance policy. So if they go, I don't know where it's at, they're more than likely just telling you a story because they don't feel like dealing with it, or they might not trust you. So if you're very direct about it, kind of like she goes, no, that's nothing. I go, no, that's definitely life insurance. We need to look at that. If I wouldn't have told, so here's how I look at that situation. If I didn't push her, and I didn't really push her, I just said, no, that's life insurance, then she's sitting on a policy that's underwritten as non-tobacco. She's a smoker. And if something happens to her in the next 2 years and she doesn't get paid out because I was too weak to go, no, that's life insurance, we need to look at that. What does that make me? So, guys, I think, and I think there's a misconception about my presentation and maybe my attitude in the home. Like, I'm not rude in the home by any means. When I say things like, the biggest reason women get remarried when their spouse dies is because they need money. I would hate to see my wife laying in bed with another man because I was too stupid to take life insurance out. Like, it's not rude because it's true. And if I was lying and just being pompous, it'd be one thing, but that would be really awkward. And so the things that I say in the home is because I want these people to move in the direction they should move. So I'm passionate about them doing it. And so the only way to get them to move sometimes is to be very direct and say things that make them uncomfortable. Because again, that's how you get folks to move most of the time. So as far as final expense goes, it's a very simple close. That people fill out those cards for one of three reasons: leave a legacy, final expenses, or they're looking to save some money. That's it. So when you get in a home, it's okay, you fill out this card. Most people fill these out for one of three reasons. They're either looking to leave a legacy behind, their kids, grandkids, great-grandkids. They need final expense coverage. They need to make sure that when they pass, their family's not going to be burdened with a funeral bill. or they're looking to see if they can save money on their current policy. People love to save money. So if you go if you say that in every final expense appointment, you're going to get one of the three they're going to answer. They're not going to tell you, oh, I thought it was free. They don't do that. It's kind of like, why that statement doesn't make sense. So when we're having a conversation, I ask a question, they don't give me an answer that doesn't make sense because I'm posturing myself in a way that they know they should answer the question because I'm there to help them. So say those three things. Make people get their policies out because, again, a lot of policies, the increase in price, or they're told they had whole life and it's a term policy, it's going to end at 80, but you won't know that unless you're actually laying eyes on these policies. And for me, I do a lot of that, and not in a bad way. I fill out replacement forms on everything I rewrite because you have to. And if I'm not doing the right thing, then filling out replacement forms would be something that I wouldn't do. And there's a lot of people out there I've seen in the past that do stuff like that. And so if you're always doing the right thing, it's always going to work out for you. So mortgage protection, as far as in-home goes, again, there's so many different presentations that I utilize on a regular basis as far as mortgage goes. You guys have heard the cashback option. I'll touch on it very briefly. And it's state specific. I know there are a couple states here in the U.S. that do not allow a 25-year cashback option. And for me, if that was the case, then I would just sell the 30-year cashback option, because maybe prior to 2017, midway through, when Americo added the living benefits, the 100% critical illness rider, I could go, maybe I should just give them regular life insurance and not worry about the cash back because it doesn't pay interest. But you can't find life insurance that's going to give you 100% death benefit, 100% critical illness benefit, 25 or 50% accidental rider, as well as 100% return of premium. There's nothing out there that does that. So for me, I used to sell some different products on occasion because I like value, and when I'm in the home, I want to do what's best for my client. But I'm having a hard time showing any mortgage lead, anything else other than HMS 125 or 150, strictly because the critical illness rider. And if you know anybody that's ever fought cancer, God forbid, passed away from cancer, then you can understand the amount of medical bills that are accrued with something along those lines. And the biggest reason people wind up losing a home is an unforeseen death or an illness. So if I know that going into an appointment, then I can go, here's the biggest reason people lose homes. Good news for you is Americo's come out with a plan that covers both of those things. And oh, by the way, if neither one of those two things happen at the end of this policy, you're going to get all your money back, so you're not wasting a dime. People don't like to waste money. So that's how I present the cashback option. If it's a 25-year, I'm setting up for 25 years. If the payment on the mortgage protection is $200 a month, at the end of 25 years, which is 300 payments, they're going to get back 60 grand. You take the $60,000, you're going to pay off your loan 5 years early. And if their mortgage payment's $1,000 a month, that's principal and interest, not taxes and insurance, just the principal and interest. If it's $1,000 a month, they're going to save $60,000 in interest, cutting 5 years off their loan. To me, it's a no-brainer. Like, when I like to sell things that actually make sense to people, that when they buy it, because it's emotional. Life insurance is emotional sales, so I start talking about death and what happens if Sean doesn't come home tomorrow. What are you going to do? What would happen? Karen, what would you do? Well, I can get a female emotional. I can even get a male emotional. So they're in a buy based off emotion, but when they're talking about it later that night, or the next day, or when the next week when the policy comes in the mail, they need to know that this policy has value and that there's a plan with it. So in 25 years, they're going to pay the entire house off. Guys, a couple things that I think make the difference in agents that can really make a difference in people's lives, and ones that don't, is, like Sean said, getting uncomfortable in the home. And for me, it wasn't always easy to be direct with folks. It wasn't always easy to talk, and I'm in New Jersey. What were you in New Jersey a month and a half ago? And I'm talking, I look at statistics, and white males, higher probability of getting diagnosed with prostate cancer than any other race. African American males, higher probability of getting diagnosed with heart disease. When I'm sitting with folks, whatever race they are, I know a statistic. Why? Because they should know. If I'm trying to help them, really trying to help them, and they don't understand what's going to go on down the road or what could potentially go on down the road, why would I not tell them? Does it help them make a better decision if I go, yep, life insurance could be $70 a month if you just got a plain old 30-year life insurance policy? Correct. This one's $134 a month though. But here's what it does different than that. If you have a heart attack, or Sean, if you're diagnosed with prostate cancer, you get up to $250,000 to cover your mortgage payments, to cover your medical bills, to make sure you and the kids and the wife are not worrying about how you're going to make this mortgage payment. So yes, you could get that $70 life insurance policy, but for an extra $70, you get all this as well as all of your money back. Can you see how that would make sense? That's the type of things that you say to your clients in the home to make them move. And the better you get at truly taking your emotion out of it, not looking at what you think they can afford or what you can afford. So what you can afford, you're going to show them, because if you can't afford $220 a month, then how in the world could they? Because that's what I did when I started. I'd look at a payment and go, man, I can't even afford to pay $20 a month. How are they going to pay $330? And I would be afraid to show them. Like, what you got to do is get it out of your head and know that these folks are relying on you for help, and you're not giving them an easy out. When people tell you they want to think about it, they're doing it for one of two reasons. They can't afford it, or they don't like or trust you, okay? So the only way to find out which one of the two it is to ask. Listen, I maybe I've done something wrong. I'm not sure, but from where I'm sitting, this is something that you all need. And so it's either I've done something wrong, you don't like or trust me, or the price is too much. Which one is it? Like, try that. And your last ditch resort, guys, and I say this when I'm not writing a policy in a house, I'll say this, and then if they don't budge after this, I leave. I'll go, Sean, if you knew you were going to die next Thursday, is there any reason you wouldn't do this? Sean goes, no. And I go, Sean, do you not know you're not going to die next Thursday? If he doesn't move after that, then I really can't help him. So, Sean, I appreciate you having me on the call, man. It's been a blast to be up here. I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Outstanding. I think that a couple things that hit me, Frank, when you were talking. I always, like, whenever I'm training or talking to somebody or talking to a client per se, I always kind of give them when I got brutal truth and how it helped me. Because, everybody, it's funny because we should never even call it brutal. It's like you're just trying to help somebody out, so you're honest. I'm a 17-year-old freshman in college, Frankie, and I go to this junior college. It's baseball school. Everybody knows they play baseball, and some have been drafted. I was not one of them. And at 17, I was young. I was like, I'm still going to grow. I graduated high school really young. I'm really good. And I remember the coach pulled me aside after the second practice. He said, what do you want to do with your life? And I said, what do I want to do with my life? So I want to play professional baseball. And he looked me in the eye, serious as hard time. Coach P's big. He's about 6'5". And he said, the chances that you'll be successful playing professional baseball are 0%. Not 2, not 10. I've been doing it. I'm a major league scout for 25 years. You're 6 foot. You don't run fast enough. You don't hit far enough. You're a thrower, not a pitcher. You don't throw hard enough at your size. You're never going to grow. You ain't going to be 6'6", 6'8". You need to find something to do with your life. And he never did that to hurt me. He did it because he had the strength and courage to help me. They could have just said, I know, fight, don't give up on your dreams, son, and let's have a good junior college baseball season before you go somewhere else. I mean, so my point is, when I tend to do that, whatever it happens to be, whether it's, my daughter saying, you need to stop doing this. I used to, a long time ago, chew tobacco, okay? And my son started putting little Slim Jims in his lip. And then my daughter was like, well, Dad, what do you expect? You do what he's going to want to do. I'm like, great, there we go. I got to stop doing that too, So let's, before we, get flustered, any time in my life that somebody's kind of hit me between the eyes and said, hey, it's helped dramatically. So, a couple things that hit me. You talk about, do we use flip charts, do we not? Whatever works for you, do. Now, I never did that. I never had one. But some people use an inventory, that's great. Here's my position on things. You're outstanding, Frankie. If it works, keep doing it. Dial days, if it works, keep doing it. If your dial time works and your team does it, great. Take control. You take control by being honest, by being direct, by hitting between the eyes. Sit with 15 minimally. You can't go wrong. We used to always laugh. Tuesday at 6 was our response to everything. So I don't think I need it. So Tuesday at 6 will work. I mean, it was when we were booking for Tuesday at 6. So I think so Tuesday at 6 will work. Because the reality is you do want the information. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be eligible. Okay, so Tuesday at 6 will work. I mean, that was the answer. We would laugh about it because it just worked. I love when you said I walked into a home yesterday, because here's the thing about this. Like, Frank doesn't have to sell life insurance. That's great about us. Now, we've been in business all 4.5 years, so I always get nervous when people have been working for 3 months and they want to retire. I'm going to never have to sell anything ever again and do nothing. I always want to make money off people and do nothing. That's a little bit weird. So I appreciate you for doing that. We avoid objections by taking control and be consistent. You know, I think you talked about I'd be too weak. I feel the same way. If somebody needed my help dramatically, I'd be too weak if I didn't help them. So, John Gavin, unbelievable. It's all yours. Annuity, IUL. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
That's a timer.
Hi everybody, welcome to Facebook Live. My name is John Gavin. Sean Ruggiero asked me to jump on today and go over how to identify clients and approach them in the warm market for annuities and IULs. I think this is a market that we don't utilize enough because there's so many opportunities out there, and I think that in certain circumstances, if we don't take advantage of these opportunities, not only are we going to regret it later on, but we're going to have some people that we know that might be suffering financially and even have to work extra years because they weren't prepared. And what I mean by that is, I'll start with annuities. The annuity market right now is huge, and the reason why is because the market's set up perfectly for our sales in protecting assets, eliminating fees, but also providing a great upside potential. If you look at history, just in the last 17 years, in September of 2001, overnight the market lost almost 12%. In 30 days, it lost 30%. And over the year in 2001, we lost about 41%. 7 years later, in 2008, we saw the same thing again. Different circumstances, different reasons behind it, but the market lost 41% again. So when you look at the warm market that you have, how many people do you know that are retiring in the next 10 years that would suffer significantly if the market were to repeat itself and lose 20, 30, or 40%? I think if you look at it that way, you'll see a lot of people that are potential clients. And now when we approach them, it's really simple. I don't think that we're being obtrusive and getting into people's business when we ask them how their finances are protected, because what we provide is such a valuable product. When we have something that has zero risk of any loss, zero fees whatsoever, and the upside potential where some of our clients from 2 years ago have gained 34, 38, and 41%, the value of what we provide is incredible. And when you just touch on the subject with people, and you just initiate that conversation, then you approach it like any other lead, where you go back, you get the information specific to them, and you present it to them. I've got the perfect example that I have is my dad. When I first started selling annuities, my dad said that they were the worst thing ever, and he gave me all the reasons why. And then just last month, we were able to protect his assets by rolling him into a fixed index annuity. So I think it's just a matter of having the knowledge of the strength of the product that we have, and understanding how we can protect people's assets, because the markets right now, we're about 10% off an all-time high. So the Dow was over 26,000. We're about 25,000 right now. If you read the earnings ratios, we're about a lot of the stocks are considered overpriced. House values have peaked a little bit. So the chances of us seeing some sort of correction are a lot greater than seeing a drastic increase. And when you talk to your warm market about this and ask people about their retirement, you can ask them, how much of this do you want to protect in the down market? How much of this can you risk if there were some sort of market loss? And it's just a matter of starting that conversation and getting out there and then bringing the illustration to people. Yesterday I was meeting with somebody who told me he was so happy with his advisor. His advisors, they've had a great relationship for 22 years. And then so when I brought out the statement, what I did was I had him Google one of his ticker symbols. And you can see the growth over the last 8 years. But what he also saw was a 50% loss in 2008. And what I pointed out was, if that's happened once, that can obviously happen again. And so what we need to do is protect that from it happening, because a financial advisor's job has been pretty easy over the last 8 years, because all they do is put you into a fund and watch that fund grow. Well, even the best advisors can't protect someone's savings account or retirement account from a down market. And so that's what we're here to do. The strongest part about the FIA is it's really simple. A lot of people are overwhelmed by index annuities, but on the simplest form, they're a deposit with an insurance company that gains interest. It's that simple. Your money's not in the market, your interest is just applied based on how the market does. So you have zero risk, no risk at all. You'll never lose money in a down market. You have zero fees. We have products that don't charge anything. You don't pay me, you don't pay any management fees, you don't pay any annual fees. There's no fees at all. And we have great upside potential. And what that means is that when the market does decrease or decline or lose, and it bounces back, you gain a majority of those gains. We've got statements that we can show you that have gains of 38, 42% over a 2-year span. And with no loss whatsoever, there's nothing else that's out there that's like that. Some of my warm market are financial advisors, and I ask them, I said, so what do you have that can compare to this? And there aren't anything. And so this is the wave of the future, the indexing, where your gains are locked in each year and you never have to worry about losing anything. And so with IULs, these are not so much instant gratification. These are delayed gratification, meaning that you've got to put into them for quite some time and in order to see the gains. But with pensions going away, only 5% of the companies that offered pensions in the 80s are offering them now. So 95% of the companies in the 80s that provided pensions no longer provide them. So what else are we doing to supplement our income? We're 401ks. Well, 401ks are a variable asset. You can put into it, a lot of people are pouring into their 401ks, whether they get a match of 3 or 6%. You don't know what that's going to turn into as far as income goes. So IULs are a great way to design permanent income when you retire. And again, you have to understand the strength of the IUL in order to sell them. First and foremost, I think that everybody watching Facebook Live, everyone on this call should have an IUL, because there's nothing more powerful when you're explaining this across the table from somebody and you pull out your own. Because if you don't have it yourself, you're how can you sell something that you don't believe in enough to have yourself? And when you can pull that out, and especially if you've had it 2 or 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, you can show your statements and show those gains. I've got IULs for my children, and I can show the gains that just a small contribution is put in that they've gotten over the last 3 years. And that's really strong, because we put away for retirement for one purpose, for income when we get older, okay? What kind of income? If you're contributing to a 401k, it's completely unknown. You're pouring into it, you watch your 401k go up, the market crashes every 9 years and you see some losses, but what does that translate into income later on? With an IUL, what we can do is run illustrations and see if I put X amount in for so many years, what does Y equal? And Y is what we ultimately put away for retirement for, and that's going to be our retirement. And not only that, but it's tax-free. And so how do you identify people who would be potential clients for IULs? First and foremost, anybody that's self-employed. Self-employed people typically don't have 401ks that are set up. So anybody that's self-employed, whether it's a hairdresser, an independent contractor, photographers, anybody that you know that might be self-employed is a great candidate to have an IUL. High income earners. High income earners that don't want the limitations of a 401k, don't qualify for a Roth IRA, and so an IUL is actually their own option there. Just to give you a couple ideas of who might benefit from an IUL and what the contributions are. First of all, when I first started getting involved in IULs and selling them, I practiced the illustrations all the time. I ran different scenarios, different ages, different amounts. And so when I come across somebody, I know based off their age, approximately what they can budget for, what that income is going to be. Now, if you haven't done that, you can just run an illustration. It only takes a few minutes to get that done, and you can figure out what their tax-free income is going to be later on. And it's incredibly powerful, okay? So with IULs, here's just a couple examples and how strong they are. And these are legitimate numbers. I ran the illustrations. You can do this yourself. But my kids have IULs, and I started them very young. $100 a month into an IUL for 20 years, because I'm not going to pay into this forever. I'll pay into it for 20 years and then let them go. The compounded interest, when they retire, will be worth about $976,000. So I'm putting in about 20 years at $100 a month, so it's $1,200. So $976,000 of tax-free income. And the great thing about indexing is that you never have to worry about market loss. So when they do retire, you can pull out a higher percentage. We don't have to live by the 4% rule. You can typically pull out 9 or 10% and never outlive your money. So about $97,000 a year in tax-free income. If you're looking at somebody that's a little bit older than one, which we mostly are, friends and family, if you take a 30-year-old and he contributes $400 a month for 30 years until he retires at 60, so you can retire a little bit early, and at 60 years old, the contributions would be worth about $55,000 a year. So 30-year-old, healthy 30-year-old contributes for 30 years until he's 60, and from 60 until he's 100, he can withdraw $55,000 a year tax-free. So when you look at the strength of those numbers, how many people do you know that have children that want to set up college funds? How many people do you know that have grandchildren that they want to provide for? How many people do we know, and there's more, I think there's more self-employed people in today's market than there ever has been. How many self-employed people do you know that are 25, 30 years old? The earlier you start, the less you have to contribute. If you run the illustrations, if you start a little bit later on in life, you've got to add quite a bit more to catch up. I'm a perfect example of that because I actually had an IUL 20 years ago and didn't know what it was, and unfortunately I cashed it out. Well, when that happened, now that I got it several years later, I've got to put in 4 times as much just to catch up. And I don't know that I ever will. But if you look at the strength of these, $100 a month just for 20 years, you stop contributing, there's $976,000 available when they turn 65. And now I probably won't be around when my kids turn 65, but at least that will be there for them. And also, you take a 30-year-old, $400 a month is $55,000 a year 30 years later. So when you run the illustrations, when you take some time, you can hit the cash flow button up in the left-hand corner and hit solve for at a certain age, and it'll tell you exactly how much income they can generate when they retire. So these products are so incredibly strong. With annuities, we're going to see some sort of market correction in the next couple of years. The people around you are going to lose a lot of money. If you're okay with just bringing up the subject, how are you protecting your retirement if the market does take a turn? How much of this can you afford to lose? With IULs, what are you doing for tax-free retirement? How much are you putting away for retirement? Would you like to see something that you never have to worry about losing in a market? In fact, when the markets do lose, you actually gain 2%. So when you understand the strength of these products, it makes it a lot easier to approach your friends and family, and you'll feel better about it later on because we are going to see a crash, and who wouldn't want to be the guy that protected everyone's retirement around him and made a lot of money doing it? So my name is John Gavin. If you guys have any questions at all, please feel free to send it in to Ask a Specialist. Thanks for your time.